Sensei Seth. If you're martial artist, you're probably wondering, how can I suck way more at martial arts? Chances are you already do. But the good news is, with my tips, you can be way better at being way worse at martial arts. Let's go on a little trip, why don't we? No, camera stay, yeah, ready?
Perfect.
Tip number one, if you're sparring somebody, you gotta be real stiff. Really just flinch at everything that comes at you and make sure that you're clenched in every way. So as I fight here, I wanna be very strong and make sure that even if someone does hit me, it won't hurt. Instead of being loose and being able to move with your shots, make sure that you are very turtley. Now, that being said, I have to make sure that I'm very almost robotic with my movements, not having any flow or quick muscle movements within these strikes or defensive. So for example, some good defenses for a jab. If I'm really robotic with my movements here, I'm gonna do very bad, which is what we want. So if a jab comes, I'm going to grab it. Or if a jab comes, I'm going to pull my head all the way back, even though it was probably to about right. So again, good ways to be bad. Grabbing jabs, and this hinge hip pull motion here. Great for just making sure that I get punched directly in. Yeah, and that's one good way to make sure that you will get punched, but it'll also hurt. One way to make sure that you have absolutely no power behind your kicks is to not utilize any of your leg muscles at all. Instead, I'm gonna keep my legs completely straight the whole time and just throw my body at the back. So I'll keep my legs straight here, I'm just gonna jump and try and push into it as much as I can. So really, just if I'm sparring, just a full one of these is gonna really do you wonders for being bad. Now all of that is opposed to if you were gonna do it the right way and make sure that my legs are bent and I can unload these muscles and drive with not only my front leg, but also my back leg too, because that would be painful for the other person, not what we want. When I'm throwing kicks again, or even punches, I want to make sure that my hips are as sturdy as possible. I want no movement in the hips or the opposite side of my body when I throw punches or kicks. So for example, if I'm throwing punches, I'm just extending these old triceps, baby. Just going left, right. I want no movement down here, because movement down here is going to leave me vulnerable to being good. And now again with my hips, if I'm throwing kicks, especially a roundhouse kick, I want to make sure that I have no movement here. This doesn't even look like a roundhouse kick, which is exactly what we want to fake out the enemy. We're gonna take our back leg, barely turn our leg, and keep our toes straightened out. So if I'm here, I go, and that's my roundhouse kick. It looks a lot like my front kick because if you want to really be bad, all of your cooks, all of your Gordon Ramsays. So if I really want to emphasize being quite horrible, I will make sure that I take my back leg and don't turn my hips at all, and also don't turn my hips over, as opposed to if I really wanted to do damage, I would go turn, I would pivot this back leg, I would turn my hips this way and flow through the target, rather than just really just yanking that leg up there. Feet. We've all got them. Most of us. Oh God. Feet. Stop asking me for pictures of them. Feet. You shouldn't move them. If you want to be quite tastefully atrocious, you should keep your feet either locked or crossed for the entirety of your fight. So as I throw these punches or throw my kicks, I want no movement with my feet. Now, if I do have to move, I want to make sure I'm crossing over as much as possible. Now maybe I'm crossing down low, or maybe I'm crossing up high just to make sure that I can throw off my opponent. But again, I'm keeping this nice, tall, sturdy stance. And I'm going cross as much as possible. So maybe I'm crossing down low, Maybe I'm crossing up high. Maybe it's possible. Now, this is a very advanced sucking technique, but I can also go cross and then turn around. When it comes to your feet, just make sure you suck as much as possible. You do not want to keep a good base and solid movement where I'm not crossing my feet. Very high and tight and crossing over top, always, okay? Making sure that I'm taking small steps behind or in front of my feet and getting good turns in, turning my back, exposing myself as much as possible. Now, the best way to become the worst version of your martial arts self is to do what I'm doing right now. Be inactively active. In other words, don't train, but have a very strong opinion on what works and what doesn't. Because if you test it to find out for yourself, you could be wrong, and that's not an option. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure we sit on the sidelines, watch some videos, relax, take a seat. Did he cross? Why didn't you cross your feet there? I need more crossing, John. Now, I'm glad I could help. If you want to make sure that you can become your most worst, bad, not good, if you want to be most terribler than everyone else, I suggest that you follow these simple tips. Don't listen to anyone else. I am the only person who can make you worse. Now, I guess if you are one of those outliers, one of those oddballs, one of those heathens who wants to be good at martial arts, you can just do the opposite of everything I've told you to do today. Now, if you want a black belt in this said art, all I need is 3 weeks of your time and $3,000 of your monies. And once you follow those simple steps online, it'll take you to where I would get your social security number and your maiden name and possibly any of your vital organs and access to them at all times, regardless of your safety. And subscribe. Subscribe, or I'll kick you. In all honesty, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. I'm not trying to hit on anybody. I just want to make sure that my videos aren't boring, and this is the only thing I can come up with. So, like and subscribe, leave comments, share this with people. Unless you thought it sucked, then just, I don't know, we go now. How'd you make it this far? Is a better question.